All right. Hello, hello. Thank you for dropping into the Business Builders meeting. Definitely appreciate you coming in. We'll probably get started. I'll probably give it till a couple minutes after 10 o'clock just to give some additional people a chance to join, and then we'll get started. Yeah, and I think, yeah, I think I see you here. Your name's Don Marie, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, I have you here in my system, and this system is actually kind of part of what I'm going to be talking about today on how to keep track of people. Like just basically people you interact with and come into contact to, and how to follow up with them and convert them into actual usable business. So we will have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. Should be relatively quick. This one's not really too in depth. It's mainly kind of a get back to basics in the core. Just whenever the economy is starting to act a little funny, so whenever that happens, it's usually best to just kind of get back to basics and just keep doing the things that are pretty inexpensive and easy to do that are actually going to result in some sales and revenue. So we'll get started here probably about 10:03 if you wanted to grab like a water or something. Is there anything in particular you were looking to learn today?
Nothing in particular.
Okay, just kind of seeing what it's all about, basically.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for coming along. And we have somebody's in as Moto G5 Plus, which I'm pretty sure is a phone model. But thanks for joining. We will be getting started here in a few minutes. Probably not going to be too many people here today. Just this was kind of a last minute. I've had the presentation together for a while, but the just letting everybody know was kind of last minute. So we're probably only going to have a handful. I do also record all these. So if you want to go back and watch it after this is over with, I'll be sure to email that link out so you can come back and watch it again if there's anything that you missed or if you want some clarification. And if my dogs bark, I apologize. Let's close out of this. Now I'll get my screen share set up here. All right, there we go. You should be seeing the screen share now, right?
Yes. Yep, I see it.
All right, perfect. Okay, and we will give this. Oh, actually, it's 10:03. All right, so like I mentioned, this will be recorded, and I'll be sending out links to that. So if you have to step away to take care of some business or whatever, I'll be sending a link to this to your inbox so you can watch any parts you missed or anything like that. So thank you so much for coming in today to the Business Builders Meetup. This is a meetup that I actually host locally here in St. Petersburg a lot of times. Obviously with COVID and Corona, in-person meetups, not so big anymore. So I thought I would take this over and try to do this online and see, basically see how it does. The main purpose of the of the meetup is to help other small business owners and professionals to learn tips, techniques, and tools that they can implement in their business that's going to really accelerate their success. Personally, my specialty is leveraging tools and technology very efficiently and inexpensively to make businesses punch way above their weight class. So this is going to be things, like marketing sequences, automated follow-ups and onboarding sequences, as well as integrating all of those together. Because basically you don't have to do everything manually. So I cover a lot of those in these meetups. So that's kind of the basis here. My dream goal, or my dream outcome with this meeting, is that you do find or learn one or two things that you would be able to implement in your business. So I try not to talk too much about like concepts or motivation. There's plenty of people out there that do a much better job at motivation than I do. My goal is really to teach more of like the nuts and bolts of things you can actually put into your business that are going to have a major impact on the bottom line. Everybody, well, not everybody, but people do ask me why it's called BizTweaks. Personally, my belief is that most business concepts are actually fine. There's a lot of ridiculous businesses out there that make plenty of money. Pet rock's always one that kind of pops to mind, that someone was able to take a rock, market it, and make a lot of money off of it. So it's not necessarily the business idea that needs it's not the business idea that's wrong. A lot of times it's more of the implementation and the lead generation and the sales process and the fulfillment process that really is the stumbling block for a successful business. So I do believe that with some slight tweaks, most businesses can become profitable or even more profitable. Most businesses, especially small businesses, operate more like a colander, which is you pour in leads as water, let's just say, and basically it all spills out the bottom, and you're losing a ton of money just by an inefficient process. And sorry, I should have worked on this metaphor a little bit more. But basically, if you're trying to carry your leads to the finish line of the sales process, and you have a bunch of holes in your sales process, by the time you get to the finish line, you only have a handful of leads still available. Now, good businesses, they patch up some of those holes where you're able to carry more of those initial leads across the finish line to convert into sales and revenue. And great businesses set up as pipelines where basically you don't have to do much to carry the lead from the initial contact through to the sales process and revenue. It all happens automatically. So the final goal is we want our businesses to be a pipeline where it effortlessly will take a lead from initial contact all the way through to revenue generation. And then after that, we want to convert those leads into additional business. So who is this meetup for? So basically it's for people who have ever wondered, how do I get more sales? How do I find more time in my day? There's got to be an easier way to get this done, and also what marketing I should be doing. So if you've ever asked yourself those questions or just felt a tremendous amount of stress, I promise you that the content in this meeting is going to be of value to you. A lot of people are currently concerned with coronavirus and COVID and all that, what the coming economic issues are going to be and all that stuff. The main thing to always remember in business is that things are always going to change. It doesn't matter where we're at in the business process. Things down the road are probably going to get worse, and at a different point in time, things are also going to get better. The main thing to keep in mind is that you always need to be flexible and observant of what's going on around you, because there is opportunity in every business. And a lot of times whenever there is significant change or issues like basically what we're facing now, by finding solutions to those problems now, it should, if you do it correctly, actually make your business stronger and more efficient, which whenever things recover, puts you in a much better position to capitalize. So don't stress too much. Just know that things always change, and it's an opportunity to improve. Now, I did put a question out on the email list for what's your biggest challenge in the next 3 to 6 months. We will circle back around to that at the end. I just wanted to remind everybody that that was a question that was on the email that was sent out. We are going to have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation, and you'll have a chance to ask any questions about topics that were covered, and also share if you have any challenges in the next 3 to 6 months that you would like help with. So all that long intro aside, I put this on here as obviously a rhetorical question. Everyone wants a great business. So what does a great business look like? A great business is a money-making machine. A great business also knows its numbers. A great business is scalable, and a great business is transferable. And in this presentation, I am going to go over two very easy things to implement that help you reach this goal of building a great business. A great business does not happen overnight. It does not come out of just one idea. A great business is built and assembled. A great business does not take up all your time. It doesn't only work when you're there working on it. A great business will work without you there. A great business also does not take forever to explain to somebody. And then a great business does not rely on hustling. Honestly, personally, all the hustle posts and all that stuff drive me up the wall, because if you're having to work like 12 hours a day, you're probably doing something very, very wrong. So you need to think of your business as a car. And again, this is the metaphor portion. And it's important because you have to realize that it's not just one thing that's going to make money in your business. It is a assembly of different components and systems that all work together to move you forward. And by moving forward, I mean making revenue. So you have your leads. So your leads are going to be the fuel. That is what you put into this machine to get a result, which is to make money. You then have an engine, which the fuel goes into. The engine is your sales process. And that sales process's only goal is to take those leads and convert them into revenue. And that should be the primary focus of your business. Revenue is going to be the distance that you can travel. Obviously, more money gets you further down the road and closer to your goal. And I know that all seems very, very simple, but I think especially in these trying times, we have record low GDP numbers. We have, a bunch of unknowns coming with how long COVID's going to be around. There's a lot of disruption currently, and it's important to focus on these key concepts, because it's very easy to get distracted by all the other stuff. Like, oh, I should be doing, like Instagram marketing campaigns. Oh, I should be doing, for example, Zoom, Zoom presentations here. The important thing is to focus on the system for your business. Find the two or three things that are actually resulting in money for your business and focus on those and turbocharge them. You don't have to do 60 different things to get to where you want to be. You really only have to do 2 or 3 things very well to set yourself up with a successful business. And I say that as someone who I try all sorts of technologies and, and things to try to boost my business, but I'll get to that in a second. So this is the first major concept that I want to cover with you. And again, I know some of you might roll your eyes at this, especially anything with magic in it and business, in a business presentation. You're always like, oh my God, here comes the pitch or something. So there's no pitch. So this is literally what happens in your business that produces money. So, and it's a very simple formula. So it's basically, how many customers do you have? How much revenue do you make per sale with those customers? And then how many times do you sell something to those customers? Now, there's always variation in this. So I'm in real estate as one of my primary modes of generating income. So obviously with real estate, I can't sell somebody 10 houses a year, obviously. I mean, I'd love to. If you know somebody that's looking to buy 10 houses a year, please let me know. But I do track the number of customers that I have, and I can track my average cost per sale, or not my average cost per sale, my average revenue per sale in the form of commissions. And then instead of sales per year, what I look at is, and if you have a similar business where you're only doing like one sale or something like that, I try to look at how many transactions I do based around one customer. So for example, I have a couple that I sold a house back to in January. And so that would be one sale per year. But with the referral system that I have in place and contacting with them, I actually sold two because they referred me to another person that was interested in buying a house that I would not have gotten otherwise. So you kind of have to massage this a little bit to your business. Obviously, if you're selling, like healthcare products or makeups or something like that, that sales per year is probably a little bit easier to do. Now, obviously, these numbers are pretty low. The other thing I would advise you to do is if you own your own business, you need to dream bigger. You don't want to build yourself a job. If your goal is only to make like $20,000 a year, you would probably be better off just going and getting a job and not having to deal with the, the tax headaches and all the other stuff that comes with the business owner. But I picked these just because they were kind of easy to illustrate this concept. So the question is, what do these targets need to go to so far as an increase? How much do you have to increase each of these to double your sales? And I like the word doubling just because it's kind of bold. Who wouldn't want to double their revenue all the time, So what percentage do we need to increase the number of customers? What percentage do we need to increase revenue per sale? And what percentage do we need to increase the number of sales per year to effectively double our income? And everybody's muted, so nobody's chiming in with with some guesses. But the answer is probably a lot lower than you would think. So the answer is, with only a 20 to 25% improvement on each one of these statistics, you effectively double your total income, which is achievable. Like 20 to 25% improvement, especially in like the small business space. If you're doing like $300 million a year in sales, it's a lot harder to improve 20 to 25%. Obviously, this is a small business meetup. I don't think anybody here is doing $300 million a year. So if you are, please let me know. I'd love to talk with you. So if you improve your customers from 10 to 13, if you improve your revenue per sale from $100 to $125 per sale, and then if you can sell to those same customers, you don't have to. So you're only adding 3 new customers. You're only adding $25 to each sale, and you're only adding 2 additional sales to each of those customers per year. You have doubled effectively your revenue from $10,000 to $19,500 in this example. That should get you pretty excited because you can focus on each of these things with clear techniques to boost each of these numbers. Like, it's not mystery. Like, this formula here is what gives you a clear path to what you should be working on in your business, as well as what the results are going to be. And like, once you actually see this work in your business, it's crazy. So I'm going to give you the example of my real estate business. So let's just say that I currently have 10 clients. I have quite a bit more than that actually currently. Revenue per sale is at $5,000 per sale. That's just a rough ballpark commission. And let's just say that I don't do any follow-ups or referral programs with those clients, and I only sell 1 house for each of those customers per year. So let's apply the same methodology with that 20 to 25% increase for each of those. So now I work my system and I get 15 customers, which is only 5 more, which is a significant increase percentage wise. But honestly, in the grand scheme of things, like, an additional 5 clients in real estate is not that hard to get. With my marketing and my just the way I run my open houses and stuff, I increase my revenue per sale, and I can do that by hosting open houses in a little bit higher price points, and also, just focusing my marketing efforts in more higher price points. And then the number of sales per year, I boost from 1 to 1.2 by having a referral program where I call my existing customers who love the work that I did for them and basically just straight up ask them, hey, do you know anybody else who is interested in buying or selling? And I do that a few times a year, and I can boost that number from 1 to 1.2. And it's not that difficult. It's mainly just doing a few things, and that the result is that boosts my income from $50,000 originally to $108,000. So I hope you can see the power in this. But it doesn't happen without without careful thought and a plan and a system. You have to be a business builder. You can't just sit back and crunch and sweat and work on the same stuff. You have to go about your business in a plan and put it together. Now, so me personally, I am a pretty big fan of racing. This is what I dream to have my business function like. So this is basically one of the fastest cars ever produced, and it's currently dominating every race. They've won every championship for like the last 6-7 years here. This thing is screaming. Unfortunately, most of us, our businesses do not work this well. This is more of what most of our businesses work like. And I know that mine in particular definitely has some sore spots just like this, just because there's things that don't interest me so much. Honestly, one of my weaknesses is accounting. I hate accounting. But even starting from this, it's still better than nothing, right? Because it will still get you from point A to point B. And you also have the opportunity to work on it and to upgrade it a little bit. So the way, and this is kind of the second real basic core value that I wanted to cover with you today, is you have to go about your business in a mindset of constant improvement. There is always something. I don't care how big your business is. There is always something about your business that you can always be doing better. Now, you definitely don't want to try to do all of it at once, because that is a recipe for disaster. So you don't want to take this car and basically try to replace every damn thing on it at once. It costs way too money. It usually doesn't work right. And it's just, it's a nightmare. I've tried it a few times. It does not work. The best way to go about it is to pick 1 or 2 things in your business that you see that could use improvement. So on that magic formula, don't try to do all 3 of those. Don't try to improve all 3 of those at once. Pick 1, maybe 2, if you have a lot of spare time, but really just pick 1 part that you want to improve. Maybe you want to improve revenue per sale. Maybe you want to set up a referral program to try to get more clients. Maybe you want to try to get your existing clients to buy more from you every year. And of course, the one everyone always wants is, how do I get more clients? But you don't always have to get more clients. If you can do the other 2, a lot of times that's easier, because your existing clients already know you and love you and like you. Hopefully, if your business is performing properly, your customers should be willing to do more business with you that year or refer other people to you. So you need to choose the part that you want to improve. You have to test the improvements. So you come up with an idea or some way that you want to move those numbers. And then you actually have to prove the improvement. Now, the first 2 parts, everyone gets right, because everyone always looks at what they're doing or their business, and they're like, I need to work on this part. Or I need to make more sales. Let's send out some emails. The third one is the one that everyone always skips. You have to know if what you're doing is a actual improvement over what you have been doing. Because if it's not, you're wasting your time. Now, it's never a waste to prove that something doesn't work. So it's important whenever you're doing this to kind of set up a timeline for how long you want this test to run. And you do have to be able to track these numbers to make sure that you can prove that it's working. Now, little added bonus here. I am going to send you the sheet. I'm actually going to drop the link in the chat. And I apologize. This is actually the first time I'm using. There's a lot of background noise. All right, I apologize. I'm not sure. Sorry, I just saw the chat here. So here is the link. There's the link to a statistical significance calculator. And I apologize if there's a lot of background noise. I hope it's gotten a little better. I'm trying to look around to see if there's anything causing it. I don't really know. If you could tell me what the sound is, I might be able to figure it out. So the link I just dropped into the chat there, and I'm also going to send it as a follow-up. Oh, okay. All right. Perfect. So this statistical calculator is a mathematical way to prove if what you are doing is actually better than what you had been doing. In the business, this is called an A/B test. Johnny, I'm sure you're familiar with these quite a bit. So Johnny Kroski on here, I know him. He's he's a SEO guru. But A/B testing, I don't care what it is. So you always hear about A/B testing in Facebook online marketing as well as SEO. You can do A/B testing in every part of your business. If your business includes a lot of shipping, if you're shipping 300 products a day out of a warehouse, you can use an A/B test to see if some part of that shipping process that you have changed has actually resulted in an improvement. Now I will switch my screen share over to share. Okay, so I'm not sure. Are you seeing the spreadsheet, or are you seeing something that says Business Builder System? Okay, perfect. Sorry, because Zoom's kind of weird. It doesn't show me what y'all are seeing. So, okay, so we're over here in Excel, and this is that A/B tester that'll show you statistical significance. It's a hard one to say. So basically, you only have 4 things here that you need to actually concern yourself with. So this one is currently set up for Facebook advertising evaluations. I also use this for direct mail, because those are 2 of my primary movers for lead generation and all that. So you basically have 2 variations. So I'll just use the direct mail. I'll use direct mail for this stuff. So let's say variation is a sales letter that is, nice and friendly, not very aggressive or salesy. And then variation B is a letter that's a little more salesy, a little bit more direct call to action and all that good stuff. So instead of visitors, I'm just going to call this letters. So let's just say here, I sent out 2,000 letters of this, and this one I sent out 2,000 letters of that. Let's say I got 13 calls off of that, and I got 7 phone calls off of this one. So here we can see what our conversion rate is for each. Actually, I apologize. I don't know how to do the focus thing on the cursor. So I'll just flip this back and forth. So here's our conversion rate for each. So we have a 0.65 conversion rate here, and then we have a 0.35 conversion rate on variation B. The rest of this stuff is standard error. This is just kind of mathematical stuff. You don't have to worry about that too much, but if you want to dive into it, feel free to. And then this is the calculations for what the conversion rates are. But you don't really have to pay, like, the conversion rates are kind of nice to know. But really the only thing you need to pay attention to is these 2 results. And then this explains these 2 results in a little bit easier way to understand. So with statistical significance, it's statistics, and there's pretty much never going to be a 100%. So what we have to do is we have to be as certain as possible with whatever our comfort level is. So a lot of people, that's going to be 90% confidence. So that means there's basically a 90% chance that variation A, sorry, I was reading the box here. So there's a 90% chance that variation A works better than variation B. 95% confidence is pretty much about as good as you can get. So in this case, we do not have 95% confidence. We can see that we are only 91.07% certain. Now, one of the problems you run into this is, as a small business, you probably don't have like a huge marketing budget, like you're not spending $60,000 a week on Facebook advertising. So it can be hard to send enough of these that you can make that you can slice the statistics that thinly to know the difference. So let's say that, let's just times these by 10 and see what happens. 130 and 70. So there. So just by multiplying these by 10, and this is just an example, you definitely do not take your numbers and multiply them by 10. But I just wanted to show you that with more data, with more of a sample size, it becomes easier to get to this 95% confidence level. But understand that as a small business, your budget is probably not going to be that large enough to get there. So you kind of have to make a judgment call. Now, let me just drop these back, 2000, and 13 and 7. Okay. Oh, and now, oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry, it was saving, and I was like, what? That is wrong. I just spent 3 minutes telling y'all the wrong thing. There we go. So we're correct. So this is back to our original numbers here. So in my business, at least, I don't spend enough money to really get that large data set to be able to reach 95% confidence usually, but 90% is usually pretty easily achievable. So my rule is that if it's anywhere close to 90% confidence, I go with it. Obviously 95% would be better, of course, but 90% with my business, with my budget, is good enough for me to make that decision. So what happens if, say, this is 10? So we can see here, if we only get 10 conversions off of this letter, there's no statistical significance. So we can see that this is only at 76.71%. I'm hesitant to make a change permanent in my business based off of a number lower than like 85%. Because just 3 out of 4 times, it still is not significant. It's not significant enough to me to make that change permanent. Like there's probably something else that's going to work better. But if you consistently apply this to your business, and you can do this in everything. So let's say that, so that was letters. So let's do like a Facebook advertising thing here. So let's do something completely different. So let's just say a cold calling campaign. So let's say call 100 people a day, which is everybody's favorite thing to do. So you cold call 100 leads. So we're going to do 100 here and 100 here, and you're testing out 2 different scripts. Let's just say these are 2 different scripts. One of these is pretty strong. The other one is relatively easy relatively easy and friendly. And we can see on this one, we got 3 people to convert, and this one we got 1. So we can see that there is an 84% chance that the variation A that you were doing is going to end up in more sales. And it's okay if it's a small increase, because what we're looking to do here, it's very, very, very unlikely that you're going to find something that is 3,000 times better than what you're doing. It's certainly possible, especially when you're starting off, and especially with Facebook campaigns. And if you're going to be setting up Facebook campaigns, then you need to go wide to start. So don't just try to craft a perfect marketing ad, because it's pretty much guaranteed not to work. What you need to do is you need to try 10 different ads, pick the one that's actually performing the best, set that one as your primary, and then try another 10 ads. And right out of the gate, you're not going to hit it out of the park. You have to anticipate that this is a process, and over time, by improving various parts of your business, maybe 10, 20, 30% to start, and then that slows down a little bit over time. But over time, all of those changes and improvements are going to add up, with the end result being that you're going to have a money-making machine that basically you can guaranteed put money in and do certain things, and you're going to get a certain amount of money out. So my direct mail campaigns have gotten to the point where I know that for every 1,000 letters that I send out, which costs me about $650, because in addition to seeing if the letter works, I've also been improving my letter packaging process. I went originally from, I would hand stuff envelopes, and that sucked. And then I would have Office Depot did it. And then I got tired of paying Office Depot. So then I was like, well, how can I do what Office Depot is doing here in my own office? And so I purchased some machines. So I've reduced my letter costs. And this is just a full regular USPS letter stuffed, sometimes with a brochure dropped in as well. So I've reduced those letter costs from originally about $1 a letter to about 60 cents per letter, which is crazy. So that's why I say you have to work on improving all parts of your business, because it all compounds and pays off. So if I send out 1,000 letters, it currently costs me about $600 to $650. I know that over the few months that it's going to take me to convert those leads and sell their house and get it under contract and close it and all that stuff, for that $600 to $650, I'm going to make back approximately $4,000 to $6,000. And if that should really get your attention, because if you get your business to that point to where you're like, I know that if I put $1 into this, I'm going to get $6 or $7 back, that is absolute magic. So we're going to switch back to the old presentation here. There we go. All right. So we should be back on the presentation slide, right? Just making sure. Okay. I'll move the chat window out so I can see y'all. So those are really the 2 or 3 main cores that if you focus on those over and over and over again, you're going to see consistent improvements in your business. I'm actually going to ask for your help now. I am assembling it's like a 30-day course for how I put this stuff together into an actual system manner. I have a customer relationship manager that I use. It's called VTiger. And I've talked about this at the local meetups over and over and over again. And I've finally figured out, I was like, I think I need to actually put something together where people can actually follow along and set it up in their own business. Because I can tell you that this makes my life so much easier. And it doesn't matter what sort of business you're in. If you set these processes up, now and implement them in your business, it's gonna result in just so much work saved. Because if you're trying to do everything manually, contacts are falling through the sieve. You forget what you talked with people about. You're losing out on, at least me personally, whenever I tried to do it manually, like you lose out on contracts to other realtors and stuff because they're a little bit more on top of the game. So I'm putting together a program called Business Builder System, and that's just a temporary name until I come up with something a little snazzier. But basically, its goal is to improve every part of your money-making machine. basic parts of it is going to be, it's going to show you how to track and manage your contacts. It's also going to show you how to create automated campaigns. And this is going to be email campaigns, text messaging campaigns, not necessarily cold calls, because nobody likes cold calls, let's be honest, but how to call your clients and ask them for additional business, as well as direct mail, because as I said, I do a ton of direct mail stuff. It's also going to cover lead generation ideas and how to bring those leads into your system and automate it. It's going to teach you how to track your metrics. One of the key things that you need is some sort of scorecard. Sorry, I probably hear my dog barking there. You need some sort of scorecard where you can check at a glance and see where you were at in your business. So, for example, me, I know that direct mail and phone calls are two of my main things that directly result in money being made. And I have a dashboard in my CRM system that tells me specifically how many pieces of direct mail I have sent that week, and how many phone calls and people I have talked to that week. And as long as I keep those numbers above a certain threshold, I know that whenever that down the road, because real estate takes a little bit longer to close a sale, but down the road, I have a baseline expectation for what my revenue should be, because I've done the initial work to guarantee that final paycheck is there. So you have to track your metrics. It's also going to show you how to plug in your phone, which is so not actually just plugging it in, but how to incorporate your mobile device into your sales process. One of the funnest things that I did was actually integrating my phone so that, and it's automated, because I don't want to enter stuff manually. Like, I don't want to have to sit and type stuff on a phone, like, and a computer and, a spreadsheet. I don't want to have to do things over and over and over again. I want to do something once, and then I want that information to populate out to whatever other systems they need to go to. So my current CRM system, I put contact information in the CRM system, and it automatically syncs all that contact data over to my phones. So then whenever somebody calls me, their name shows up in the phone, and I can answer the phone with their name, and everyone's like, oh. And it's such a little thing, but it has such a huge impact on how professional you appear to your customers and clients. The system also makes quoting, invoicing, and billing relatively easy. It can connect into QuickBooks, Xero, all that good stuff. So you can really streamline that process. And you also have the ability to customize this software to your business process. And it's cheap. It's like $10 a month. So this is all of the things that I have brainstormed that I can cover in this program. And the thing I want you to know about this program is it's in beta. It's not built yet. The part where I need your help is I need people to join this beta program so I can actually get that feedback on how to set this up and how to explain it. Because honestly, I've been using this system for 12 to 13 years. So I'm not asking a lot of questions that new users would be asking. I definitely brainstormed all of the key things that this system will do that has a huge positive impact on business, but I need you to have those new user eyes and to see, just to see what you don't understand and ask me those questions. So it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth, but you are going to get all of this information for free. Initially, my goal is a 30-day program to, obviously to market and sell to people. But I have to do this groundwork first so I can understand what exactly I need to be covering. So so as part of this beta program, I'm going to be producing videos on how to accomplish most of the items that we have discussed earlier, as well as all of these 48 additional things that I've punched in here. And it's no cost to you. We're also going to have Zoom calls where I will call you and go over Just if you're having any issues with the program, you'll have an opportunity to ask me that as well. Because again, like I said, the goal is to help a bunch of people build a better business, because this is all, I know this looks like a lot of stuff, but this is relatively simple to accomplish. So if you're interested in that program, I do have a sign up sheet here, and I'd love for you to go sign up. I just dropped that in the chat there. And again, the goal is to improve almost every part of your money machine. So that's pretty much, it's not really a sales pitch. I'm looking, it's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and just to see. So now we do have two local attendees. We have Cal and hey Cal and Johnny. They do attend the St. Petersburg meeting. So I do want to take an opportunity here. If you have any questions about what was covered in this presentation, or if you have some other section of your business that you would like help with, now is your chance to ask your question. I'll be happy to answer it to the best of my ability. So does anyone have any questions about what was covered, or do you have something that you need help with in your business? I see you thinking, Johnny. And if you'd rather not have the question here in the public forum, you can shoot me an email after this. Well, actually, you're going to get an email with the A/B tester, as well as the link to this as well. So if you have a question, you can just respond to that email. Cal, go ahead, Cal. Oh, hang on. Like I said, it's it's my first time using Zoom in this way, so I'm trying. Do I have everybody muted? Is that?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, it may be a little bit noisy. I'm in a Panera, and the music is a little bit loud. But
okay.
I did send you a question. It's on the chat box. You mentioned quotes as one of your processes to handle, right?
What was your question?
And
is this the question in the chat here about e-signatures?
Do you hear me now?
Well, it's breaking up quite a bit. If you could type your question in chat, I'm going to address your question.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Cal Tiger asked, you mentioned quote processes. Are you using e-signatures? If so, which platform? So e-signatures, for those that do not know, you can basically get a contract signed online without ever meeting somebody face to face. It's amazing. If your next question is how legal or serious is a online signature, the answer is I sell houses all day long solely based off of e-signatures. And if you can sell a house with the e-signature, it should apply to whatever other business you're looking to do. Pretty much the only people I run into that are not okay with e-signatures, some lenders do require wet signatures still, but overall, most businesses are okay with e-signatures. Now, there's two main platforms that people use for e-signatures. So you have .loop, which is it's not necessarily real estate specific, but it's pretty widely used in the real estate space. And then there's DocuSign. As with anything, there's pros and cons to each. The cool thing about the vTiger CRM, which is what that program, the Business Builder system, is the CRM software that I'll be using in the Business Builder system training. That one does have integrations with DocuSign so that you can have those documents in your CRM and you don't have to go to another platform to send a signature request to a client. Personally, I like personally, I like .loop a little bit better. It does not, .loop does not integrate nicely with vTiger at all. So if I was doing it solely in vTiger, I would use DocuSign because it's set up a little bit nicer. For my real estate business, the problem is the DocuSign instance that they have for us is absolutely terrible. It is nothing like the default DocuSign that you would sign up for on their website. It is some abomination that Keller Williams has put together. It's terrible. So I get DocuSign for free off of that. I don't use it, and I still pay .loop because their product's so much better. And it's important to make those decisions for your own business, that even if something is free, it's not necessarily better if it destroys your business process. Like if you're having a fight with something, it's probably worth it just to try to find something else. So I would recommend DocuSign as long as you're not using the real estate part of it. .loop's kind of good, and it, depending upon what sort of business and agreements you're doing, it might make a little bit more sense. So like real estate, we have a lot of documents, a lot of the same documents that all get grouped together into one file, which logistically just makes understanding the contract a little bit easier. DocuSign can do the same thing, but it's a little bit more work to set up. But DocuSign is pretty easy to set up and do like one-off contracts with. So can you use DocuSign? So Kyle also asked, can you use .loop or DocuSign without a PC? So you can get signatures on any device. I can say that the interfaces to set up the fields and everything are a little finicky. If you mean like PC or Mac, you can use both because they're all web browser based. I mean, technically you could use a mobile device, but just the fields are a little finicky to place, like the signature files. And it's, oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. So it's not just the signature field. You can actually set up the entire form with templates. So I'll use the real estate example again. So I can set one of the parties to the contract as the buyer, and I can set another one of the contacts as the seller. So one buyer, one seller, and then they automatically get assigned to the buyer and seller fields in the contract. And then there's also, you can fill in the data for like property address and, closing dates. So all of these fields are automated. So you're not having to manually fill in everything every time. And then once the form's completed, it emails out to each party's email address. And it's literally, they can open it up on whatever electronic device they have. And it's literally just, they tap the screen, either with the finger or with the mouse, and that signs it, and that's good to go. And it does put a, what's it called? It puts like a unique hash on it with a timestamp so that you can track and trace where that signature came from. So you can use from the center side, not the recipient. So yeah. So I have .loop on my phone, and I can send and update contracts and stuff like that, like on my phone or my iPad, and all that good stuff. So thank you for that question, Cal. If you have any further questions, you can shoot me an email. Spotlight Print Promo, which thank you for joining us. She asked, you mentioned automating some processes and communicating with clients. What does that look like? And do you find that it removes some of the personal touches of relationship building? So pretty good question there. I know that is a concern as we set up these automated processes. The fear is that you don't want to turn your client's inbox into what your inbox looks like, which is basically a bunch of stuff you don't care about, that shows up every day, and you're like, I don't care about this right now, like whatever. So whenever you're setting up these campaigns, you do have to do a mix, because these clients, like you signed up for something that you were interested in, and you're here because this is something you're interested in. So she says, you don't want to know what my inbox looks like. Trust, I get probably 1,200 emails a day. Most of them end up in the junk box. Just everybody loves sending real estate agents sales letters. Ugh. So we definitely don't want to flood clients with terrible content. We don't want to send them emails that is overly salesy, that is overly pushy, that is, if you're selling products, you don't want to send, like discounts every day and all that stuff. I mean, it works, and there's some businesses that are successful at that, but personally, most people don't want to show up for their clients like that. So what you want to do is you want to set those up so that it gives them information that they're actually interested in. So for real estate, instead of saying like, hey, are you ready to buy? Hey, are you ready to buy? Hey, are you ready to buy? Or like the sellers, I'm not like, hey, are you ready to sell? Like, hey, market's great. Are you ready to sell? Instead of sending that like 3 times a week, I actually send them a sequence that gives them information that I know that every buyer and seller is wondering about. So instead of like, hey, you're ready to buy, I send them information and videos that cover what the current market statistics are. I send them additional emails covering, like what the best neighborhoods are, what the best restaurants are in certain areas. If I know that if they're looking in that particular section, I send them, like things to look out for as a home buyer, like what a foundation crack looks like, or how to tell a good roof from a bad roof. So the messages are relevant to what the client is interested in. So, we don't want to go off in the left field. So like if somebody interacts with me for real estate, I don't want to send them emails about what the football game with the Patriots and the Jets or whatever. I don't want to send them something on that, because I want to keep myself top of mind with what they actually reached out to me about, which is real estate. But there is a ton of auxiliary information besides, hey, I want you to sell now, that you can write to provide value. Generally, email open rates are typically like 1% to 2%. And actually, if you're doing 1% to 2%, you're actually doing pretty good. For example, for this class, I sent out 270 emails that y'all also received, and I know y'all received them because y'all are here right now, and that's the only way that you can be here. I didn't advertise this anywhere else. So out of 270, I have 4 people that showed up to this presentation, so that's pretty good. Actually, let me calculate that real quick. 4 divided by 270. So that's a 1.4%, not response rate, but show up rate. That's actually pretty damn good. So that I know that email works, and I'm going to plug that into my A/B tester to know in the future that that's an email sequence that I should go with. But getting back to your question, sorry. You want to show up honestly and provide value. So if you're selling a product, maybe the email sequence should, you can have emails that say, hey, here's a discount, or hey, here's a product you might not know about. But you want to have other information that is valuable and relevant to the person receiving it that they might not know about, because that is what's really going to cement you in their mind that you are, that you're honest, and that you're actually trying to bring them value. Emails, again, open rates are very, very, very low. So you do have to hit some volume on that, because not everyone is not going to open all of your emails. It never happens. So you do have to send out quite a few of them. The other cool thing about the vTiger CRM, which is part of the Business Builders system, is that it has email marketing campaigns built into it. So you don't have to use MailChimp or anything like that. You can use the internal email marketing of this, and it will give you the information on how many people opened the email, how many people unsubscribed, how many people clicked the link. And then you can also build campaigns based off of what the person receiving that email did. So if they clicked on a link in the email, you can send them a follow-up email that's be like, hey, saw you were interested. Here's something else that might interest you that's similar. Or you could be like, hey, saw you were interested in this product, but you didn't buy it. Here's a 10% discount. And you could also say, if they opened the email but didn't click the link, you can send them another email based on that with a completely different topic or idea to see if maybe they're interested in that. My general rule is I want to provide like 4, 5, or 6 things of value before I directly ask for business. And you do have to directly ask for business. You can't leave it vague. You do have to directly ask for business, but you don't want to do it all the time. So far as SMS campaigns, I go pretty lightly on those because I don't know anybody who enjoys receiving text messages directly soliciting business. So I usually only do those for major things or follow-ups. So the in-person business meetings, I do a direct text just to remind people to show up. Online, like somebody's phone message inbox, I feel is a very personal thing. So you have to tread very lightly on what you send there. And you definitely don't want to send a bunch of stuff to text messages. If you have a sequence that is part of your business. So let's see what sort of, try to use an example other than real estate, because I know people get tired of the real estate examples. So I just bought a golf club, and it's being custom assembled with, the shaft and the head and all that stuff. So there was a sequence that they could send to me of like, hey, we have all your parts in, and then, hey, your club's assembled, and then, hey, your club's good to go. Some people like getting those sorts of status updates, and some people don't. And that's something to remember about any of this type of marketing. The response rates and the conversion rates are probably going to be lower than you think they should be, because not everyone is going to be interested in every marketing message that you have to say. And then the other two primary marketing campaigns, so direct mail. Honestly, I have found in my direct mail campaigns, it doesn't matter how often I send it to people, I get about the same response rate. So I can mail the same group of people once every 3 months, or I can send them that same exact letter twice in 1 month, and I get the same response rate on each mailing. I think that's just a peculiarity with direct mail. And it also depends on the message that you're putting in front of people. Real estate is very time sensitive. So it's like, if you're not actively interested in buying or selling a home, you don't really care that I sent you a letter about that. But to the people who know that they're going to be buying or selling in the next few months, they're ready to take action on that. If you're selling products or something like that, then you have to do your own testing to know your own market. But I know that on direct mail, I can send that letter out as many times as I want, and I'm always going to get that same response rate. Phone calls, again, it's kind of like the text message. You don't want to be calling people every day because they're going to get really mad and tell you to quit calling them. Honestly, so far as my direct calls go, I actually structure that based on the client, because the important thing, and this kind of gets back to your original fear, is you don't want to, if I'm understanding it correctly, you don't want to like overwhelm and feel spammy to where people would shut you out. So the way to not do that is to customize your marketing approach and your follow-up calls and your follow-up sequence for each client's condition, like where they're at in the process. So like if you just made contact with a client, then you know that they need to be treated a certain way to bring them through the sales process to decide to do business with you. And then if you have another client that you've dealt with a few times, maybe they've made a few purchases or something, you can treat them in a different manner. and the sequences you set up need to reflect that. And that is something that I do cover in the class, or not class, training, whatever you want to call it. So I hope that does answer your question a little bit. If there was something a little bit more specific, feel free to send me an email or drop that question in the chat window. Let's see, Johnny asks, let's see, is this, okay. So Johnny says, along with the SEO stuff he does, he also runs a parenting resource website with my wife. Historically, we've primarily created blog content, but we are looking to start producing video content. Can you talk about the advantages, disadvantages of doing that from a branding and potential revenue generation standpoint? Okay, so I'm assuming, so basically question is video production and potential revenue streams from video, if I'm understanding it correct, right? Thumbs up. All right. Okay. So, video is kind of the big hotspot thing everybody's always talking about now. The honest truth is it can be as fancy or as basic as you want. There are people killing it with 100% $1 million production budgets and studios and professional lighting. There's people killing it doing it that way, and then there's people killing it with just their camera doing selfie video shots that are shaking all over the place. The main thing you want to do with video is you have to be comfortable on video, and you have to be able to craft a message that people understand and respond to. Those are the primary keys. You don't have to be tremendously entertaining, as long as you are delivering something that people find value in. And you want to make sure to be, as part of the comfort thing, you have to be yourself. You can't try to put on an act or a face, or try to be, so like me, like I feel very comfortable on video, and that's because I'm not trying to be like proper. I don't write scripts. I initially tried to write scripts. The first video course that I assembled on how to sell products on Amazon, I wrote scripts. I had teleprompter. It came out terribly. If you go to the BizTweaks website and sign up there, you will see one of the videos, and it's just, I'm like, hello, I am here to help you sell Amazon products. It looks and feels terrible. So some people, though, if they have a script and a teleprompter, they look on point, like they look sharp, and that's how they feel comfortable. So the main thing with videos, you have to look and feel comfortable. So far as editing goes, you can edit it yourself. Personally, I hate editing. It is one of my least favorite things to do in the world. But you can offset that by hiring, sorry, probably popped in the microphone there. So you can hire virtual assistants online, anywhere between like $8 an hour, $4 an hour, and they will edit a video. They will drop in Adobe After Effects. If you want like an explosion behind you, there are people that will do it for $8 or $4 an hour to work on your video. Typically, they can turn a video in about 4 to 5 hours. So you're really looking at only about $20, $30, $40 per video. And that's also why it's important to make sure that you have a specific message that you're trying to convey. My other recommendation is to don't try to do a bunch, at least initially, don't try to do a bunch of videos at once. Do like 2 or 3, see what works, improve the sections that need improving, like we've talked about, and then put another 2 or 3 out there. Now, the advantages and disadvantages, most people really, so advantages, disadvantage. Okay, so from branding, okay, so 2 final questions here. So video branding, advantages and disadvantages, and then revenue generation. So for branding, it's actually great. And that is honestly how you should be using most of social media. So the amount of effort it takes to actually get a direct lead off of a video or off of a Facebook post or something like that is astronomical nowadays. I have spent thousands of dollars trying it, very mixed success. It is tough. It's not something where you're going to put a video up on YouTube or Facebook and people are going to be banging down your door. Now, the instant advantage is that when you put a video up, so the discoverability is the initial hard part. So on Facebook, if you don't have a lot of people on your Facebook business page, nobody's going to see it. So you'd have to pay ads, which, costs money. On YouTube, when you upload a video to YouTube, people are only discovering you based on the title and the description in a search. And then you also have the additional hurdle of you have no subscribers on your channel, no one else has watched any of your other videos, and it takes a lot of time to get that momentum going to where people are, where your stuff is actually showing up in people's feeds. So the immediate, and that's certainly possible, like it's not a one-off thing. You have to do video after video after video to build that audience and to get it going, which not everybody is interested in doing. Like if I tell you like, hey, you're going to have to do like 100 videos this year, a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, that is way too much work. But it's going to take that consistency and consistent valuable information to get people on board. The immediate effect though, is that if you have an existing client base, you can produce that video, upload it, and then send that video to everybody you know. So it's not going to immediately generate a new customer, but it is going to solidify you in your clients' minds as an expert in whatever it is you're talking about. So every month or two, I produce a real estate market statistics video for Pinellas and Hillsborough County, and I send that video out to everybody. And I've done that for 2 years. Now, how many direct leads has that generated directly from that YouTube post? 2. I've gotten 2 people to email me saying, hey, I saw your video. I'm interested in buying a house or selling a house. Which again, not a bad return on investment because I spent $400 to have those videos edited. And, that's, like 6,000 to 10,000 in estimated revenue. So not a bad return. Time frame on that return was pretty terrible, but the money spent worked out well. But what it did to my existing clients is they saw that I was producing content that establishes me as an expert, and I would get barely any YouTube comments other than the terrible ones that I am sure you can imagine from people saying that realtors are a scam and the market's overblown and blah blah blah. But what would happen is, and thank you, Spotlight Print Promo, for coming by. And I'll send you the link to the video and the thing and all that in the email. So thanks for coming by. But what would happen is I'd put the video up, and then within like 3 or 4 weeks, as I circulated again, or like made those follow-up calls, people would be like, oh, hey, I was just thinking about you. I just saw your video. That was great. That was a lot of great information. Thanks for sending it out. So far as like direct response videos are not the end all be all, but they do help establish you as an expert. So I do think they're worthwhile to do. The other part of revenue generation that people ask about is, well, let me go back to the branding part. The other thing is do the videos, be authentic, be natural. And that is basically what your brand is. And it helps people to become comfortable with you, which is important. And it just, especially like real estate, because real estate is very, very, very trust-based. And honestly, SEO and parenting, you're going to take parenting advice from somebody you don't trust. So like video is really a great way to help build that trust. So in those, and you can also communicate like who you are and how you go about things and the sort of like those sorts of topics. I can tell you, like, even just sitting here doing this Zoom call today, like I feel like I have a better grasp of like what I want to do and like the things I want to say with BizTweaks here. And like y'all have, Cal and Johnny, y'all have come to some of the meetings, and it's kind of been here and there. But it also, the other benefit of doing the videos is it helps solidify your message as well with what you want to say to people. The other revenue generation thing everybody asks about is the, Google AdWords and all that stuff. That is a very, very, very distant secondary consideration. It certainly can be substantial, but you need thousands and thousands of subscribers currently for it to actually result in a few $1,000s showing up in a paycheck every month. It's certainly possible, but I would not have that as a primary goal, because it's kind of a recipe for tears. Personally, I found more impacts with, like the auxiliary branding benefits, where people mention it to me. And same thing with the podcast. Let's see, actually, yeah. So I'm at two leads on the podcast as well, like 2 direct leads. But because I have that podcast, whenever I talk to people about real estate, I'm like, oh, I also have this podcast that tells you all the great places to eat in the area. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's amazing. So basically it reinforces yourself as an expert. And that's really the primary focus of it should be. And again, parenting, let's be honest, people need a lot of parenting help out there. So all right. So Carol, I don't see any questions from you. So if anybody, like I said, if you have any questions, or maybe just didn't want the question answered in a public forum here, feel free to respond to the email with the link to the Zoom call. I think this is the last. Oh, no, that's the last one. Oh, yeah. Other important thing, always end on the pitch. So the pitch here is, I'm going to be assembling a course on how to put together a business system that automates a whole bunch of this stuff for you. And it's going to make you appear like a highly polished business individual. It's going to be amazing. It's going to help you make a bunch of money. It's a beta, and I need your help to test it and to see if what I'm explaining makes sense and all that. So there's going to be some back and forth. But the benefit of it being a beta is you get to be a part of it for free. So the link's in the chat. I'm also going to be sending it in an email follow-up. If you have any other questions or need any other help with your business, please feel free to let me know, because that does help me generate content as well. So other than that, guys, thank you so much for showing up today. It means a lot. Cal, Carol, and Johnny, thank you so much for coming in. And I'll be in touch soon.